Good morning, Tampa Bay. What is going on? Channelside in the morning, live on the Channelside Sports Network. Happy Thursday. And Evan, you know what Thursday means, right?
Bocce ball?
Yes. Bocce Ball Thursdays at the country club.
Yes.
You
It means
can go.
means football was back on Amazon Prime.
You know what? I'm excited to see how Amazon Prime presents this.
I am too as well. I'm looking forward to the preview that we got with Herb Street and Al Michaels was pretty damn good. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the actual hey, this is the regular season telecast because those two together I think will crush it the rest of the way.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. I think that, and Amazon's they don't really have any expectations.
Right.
You know what I mean? In terms of like visual presentation, because every season you're like, all right, so how's NBC going to change? How's CBS? Because they always change. Like I love the new banner of NBC, like they're the scoreboard with the ticker and stuff being smaller and centered in the screen. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I liked when I used to like way back in the day when you'd have like the little box score from Fox up on the top. I think it was the right corner or the left corner, one of the two. I used to love that.
It was the left corner. Yes, I like that too as well. I missed that little box. It was so cute and cuddly. It was just right up in the left-hand corner, and it showed you the score instead of going down looking at the ticker. That's what.
Yes.
Let me ask you. I know we're talking about changes, especially on the networks, where we actually see a lot of changes for broadcast teams too. Now on Monday night, it's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for Monday Night Football. Now,
Yep.
Do you like that change for Monday night? I know a lot of people have their thoughts about Joe Buck, but to me, I can tolerate Joe Buck and Troy Aikman when they call a football game. Do you like them being on Monday night now?
Yes, I do. Honestly, I really do. I think, I feel like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are, it's kind of like the piling on, like, oh, they both suck. I hate both of them, and, people complain about pretty much every commentary team. Right. And you're like, all right, well, then just mute the TV.
Right.
Because it can't be every single one of these professionals that were hired for a reason are all bad. You know what I mean? Like,
or since now ESPN has that option, if you want to do the Manning cast on ESPN2, you can just change it to ESPN2, which
right.
I prefer. I go to ESPN2 on Monday nights just to listen to Peyton and Eli.
Right.
Because it's fun.
Yes.
They put on a good show. They definitely put on a good show. Do you think it's going to come to a point where obviously the NFL Sunday Ticket, their contract, DirecTV's contract with the NFL is up this year, and now obviously there's a bidding war. Amazon was kind of the front runner for a little bit, and now do you think Sunday Ticket will probably go to Amazon because they have the most money per se to throw at the NFL? But like the NFL came out with the NFL Plus app, which I've heard is really not that great because you can only stream on your phone and tablet. You can't do it on the TV yet.
Right. I mean, but here's the thing is this could be them planting the seeds to say, hey, we've got this NFL Plus app. Everybody's got their own dedicated streaming app.
True.
Let's see how many people we can get now on mobile and then blow them away and say, hey, by the way, NFL Sunday Ticket is now exclusive to the NFL Plus app. And now they're keeping all of that money
in-house.
I guess, yeah, but I mean, honestly, Amazon, they all still pay for the rights. So
it honestly, I just want it on a service to where it's accessible to everybody because DirecTV, let's put it out there. DirecTV is not that great. And if it rains and you're in a rainy part of the country, if your satellite goes out, you can't watch football. I mean, obviously I know the DirecTV has a streaming option too, but in some places it's not available. Like in my house, I can't get the DirecTV streaming app for some reason.
Right.
Even though I was a past DirecTV customer, it's weird.
Right. So you can't get the DirecTV streaming app because of your. So I don't know if people know this, but it depends on your physical address. If your address is deemed by DirecTV as a location that is allowed to have physical DirecTV satellite, they will not allow you to get the streaming service.
That makes sense because I was a past DirecTV customer.
Right,
I still have the satellite on my roof because they won't.
Right. So, but you look at it and they go, okay, so like if you're in an apartment, so like the way that I had it around there is I was able to buy the Sunday Ticket streaming service, which is like $100, whatever, for the full season. because I used to use my old apartment address that I haven't lived at in like 15 years.
Ah.
It's the stupidest thing, but that's how it works. And you're like, well, I mean,
That's
it's
a
just dumb.
that's a good way around. I might have to try that.
It's a fantastic loophole.
It is a loophole.
just America, Tampa, just lie. That's all you got to do.
We do that anyways. In America.
I mean, because it's stupid. Like, if you have the SundayTicket.tv website available and accessible for everybody, and they go, okay, well, if you're a student, you can do it. Well, my wife is technically a student. She's taking this semester off, but she's technically still a student. I still can't get the account if it's under her name and our physical address, because they're like, well, you could have DirecTV. And you're like, right, but you say it's for students. So, like, you guys got to make up your mind.
Interesting. It's going to be interesting after the season because I really want to know where it's going to go. I think it's probably most likely going to go to Amazon Prime because of the money. Because they'll buy the rights, and then NFL will like just get all that money from Amazon from Bezos and be like you're the highest bidder. I can see that coming. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, which is a good move for both companies. It's a great move for Amazon because if you're one of the people, I think everybody has Amazon Prime at this point, but if you're one of the people that doesn't have Amazon Prime, I would assume that they would do some sort of package deal like, hey, you sign up for Prime and now Sunday Ticket is included.
Right.
I could be wrong, but I mean, I feel like that would be a great move for them. But I guess I don't know what the statistics are for the amount of people that have Prime versus regular Amazon accounts.
It's got to be a lot more than just regular, and I think it's a lot more than Netflix. The amount of subscribers for Prime is, I mean, astronomical. Everybody's got to have Prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because everybody.
I can, Danny. I think the only maybe the two networks per se that could maybe outbid or try to outbid would be Apple TV. Apple would maybe try and make a play for it because I think it was Amazon and Apple for a little bit, just trying to bid for the ticket, and they may be coming out of nowhere, the Walt Disney Corporation, because they have the ESPN, the Hulu, and Disney Plus bundle, and then you could throw in the NFL Sunday Ticket.
Right. Yeah. So that's entirely possible.
And then bundle that together, and then kind of jack up the price of the bundle. You know what I mean? Yep. So that could be an option.
That could, yeah. And Disney, they could entice you.
Disney, talk to me and Danny. What's up?
Right. I just, I don't know if Disney. I don't know if Disney does it because they spent so much money on the NHL.
Yeah, but what? I mean, Disney's more now of a monopoly than it ever was. So I mean, why not gobble up everything?
Right. Well, I guess it depends on what the return on the NHL is, because the numbers are down. The numbers are very down for NHL viewership on ESPN compared to where it was just last season.
You think that's maybe because of ESPN though? Because a lot of people don't.
More people were way more tuned into the TNT broadcast during the playoffs than the
right, because ESPN. they don't have to deal with the ESPN politics with ESPN.
Not only that, but like Sean McDonough is just not a good commentator.
No,
and that was part of the problem. Is like you're watching it and you're like, dude, can you get at least 5 players' names correct in this broadcast? Like, come on, man. Like, we're not going to have that with the Amazon team for football.
Speaking of hockey, there was a big announcement yesterday that the Tampa Bay Lightning hockey radio will now be fully on 102.5 The Bone.
Saw that.
So
which is pretty
bigger reach, better.
Not bad for an SEC hockey team, Evan.
I know, not bad. You're getting one of the biggest reaches in Florida right now, and the broadcast will be clearer, if that makes any sense, from an AM station. So yeah.
Yep. No, I'm definitely with you. I'm excited for just the advancement. I tell people this all the time. I told Tony and John after their first show on Main Event, and they're like, there's definitely room for improvement. I'm like, dude, how many times did we have Henry Yoho on our show, and he's like, if you're not getting good, you're getting bad.
That's true.
So you've got to keep moving forward, keep plunging forward.
If you're not progressing, you're digressing.
Oh.
That's a Target T-shirt.
Is it really?
No, I just made it up right now. But
Oh,
I'm saying
okay.
it could be a Target T-shirt.
$12.99, right
one of
next to
those-
one of the Marvel shirts.
Exactly, one of those 2 for $24 deals that have some time. If you're not progressing, you're digressing.
There you go. We've got a great week 2 schedule. Like I'm looking at the rundown of the games, Evan, and I'm stoked. I'm really excited of a lot of the games.
Tonight's game in general, I mean, this matchup is tasty. This is a tasty
What a
little
debut
morsel
for Amazon Prime, huh?
I mean, you got the Chargers and you got the Chiefs. I mean, that's money right there. I mean, that's a matchup I think a lot of people were looking forward to because of these two teams. Like the Chargers have a lot of hype, and of course it's Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs who just basically destroyed last week in their game 1. So this is going to be a good matchup. I love it.
Oh, and this is going to start telling a lot of people go, oh, well, it's week 1. And then you're going to have the same people that are like, oh, but it's just week 2. And then like at some point, some of these games have to matter to you, right? Like,
it's week 11. Yeah.
Right. Like, guys, that's the same way where people are going, oh, well, we can't really count and say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the number 1 defense in the league because it was only week 1. And I was like, so just erase the win then. And everybody's 0-0 until you deem that these records and stats matter.
Right.
Right. Like, I just for me, I don't understand that logic. Chiefs are favored by 4.5, Evan. Over under is set to 54 points.
Did that update was that this updated from this morning because it was at 3.5?
Yep.
Okay,
it is updated.
Okay, updated. Okay, so it's at 4. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Okay, I like that. I'll take that. I'll take the 4 points. Yeah, definitely.
The over under is 54. I think is probably
that's right. I would say right in the wheelhouse of those two teams. 54.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it maybe going over just because of this team. Both teams like to air it out a lot, although Chargers maybe are going to be kind of hindered because Keenan Allen is out. He is out this week, so we'll see how the receiving core is going to fare out against Kansas City's secondary. Joshua Palmer is a wide receiver to look at. He did fill in for Keenan Allen last year and put a line. He had a great game filling in for Keenan Allen. I think he had 90 yards and a touchdown last year. So if you're looking for a fill-in for Keenan Allen this week, especially on the Thursday night game, look at Josh Powell. He's a guy to pick up off the waiver wires if you haven't already, if you're struggling at the wide receiver position. But don't overlook Mike Williams, who just signed a huge contract extension this past offseason, and he could be the deep threat that Justin Herbert is going to live for tonight. He was quiet game 1, so let's see in game 2.
Yeah, we saw Mike Evans last year have a lot of flashes, especially at the beginning of the year, of just like, I was one of the benefactors of having Mike Williams on my fantasy team and just taking a complete flyer on him early in the season. Like, you know what? I feel like Justin Herbert and I'm breaking through 25, 30 points for like the first 4 weeks. And I'm just sitting there like, yes, Mike Williams. And then he fell off.
Yeah. And then he was quiet the rest of the season. People were like, what? Where'd you go? Where did you go?
Yeah, I like the Chiefs straight up as well. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, they put up, he had 5 touchdowns and basically a flawless game. And I know the Cardinals defense has kind of regressed from where they were because all they did on both sides of the ball is lost. They lost assets and they never really gained anything. But this is a different Patrick Mahomes to start the season, at least through the first game, than what we saw last season. And that makes me kind of look at the Chiefs and go, okay, was I too low on the Chiefs? Because if you're putting 44 points up on a team that was a playoff team last season, it doesn't matter what week it is. That's damn impressive.
Yeah. Coming into the season, I had my doubts about the Chiefs because of the loss of Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins. And it's just like, okay, who is going to be the main guy? And I think now with how we saw the offense this past Sunday is you don't really need a guy. You can just have a bunch of other guys that are going to perform for you, which obviously they did on the Chiefs side. I'm actually going on the other side. I'm taking the Chargers in this game. So I'm going against you. I'm taking the Chargers. I'm going for the upset pick on this one. I have to throw some upsets out there this week.
I mean, to be fair, I want the Chargers to win.
Yes. J.C. Jackson is right now he is a game time decision. He could be out there tonight for the Chargers defense. So that could be huge for them. If he is out
I
there,
agree.
he'd probably cover Juju Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju Smith Schuster.
As we truck along on the schedule, Sunday slate, 1 p.m. New York Jets traveling to Cleveland. Jets. I mean, yeah. Jets are underdogs by 6.5. Over under is super low at 39.5. So obviously Vegas is expecting a defensive
Let's round up.
minded game.
We'll just call it 40. We'll just round up.
Right.
Call it 40.
I understand why they do the halves on everything. Because they'd be like, ha ha ha, you didn't quite get it, did you? I don't know. I feel like I like Cleveland in this because I think Jacoby Brissett actually looked better than I was going to give him credit for.
Listen, I don't know why a lot people give so much crap to Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is not a bad quarterback.
He's just serviceable.
He's a game manager, which you need him to be. He has enough talent around him in Cleveland where he could do that. So I don't know why he gets so much flack, man.
He does get a lot of flack.
Is it because he's on Cleveland now? Maybe that's probably why. But
I think it's because he came from the New England Patriots tree.
Well, when you fall from that tree, everybody gets shit. So
right, but I feel like that's what it is because coaching staff, anybody that leaves New England always has such high expectations because they're like, well, they were the top team for the last 20 years, so they've got to, he's got to be good. He's got to be good.
Especially if you've been a disciple of Belichick and you've been an understudy of Tom Brady, because a lot of those quarterbacks that have been, the backups for Brady have gone off and just been career backups the rest of the way.
Right. Yeah, and it's.
Except for Jimmy G, but Jimmy G is still like a mediocre tier 3 type quarterback.
The verdict is still out on Jimmy G.
Exactly. Who could be starting anytime soon for San Francisco if San Francisco doesn't get their heads out of their asses right now?
Right. I talked about it yesterday. I like that they signed Marlon Mack. I still think Marlon Mack has a lot to offer a team. As long I guess it depends on if can get fully healthy. But this is also the best case scenario for him in San Francisco because they can't keep any running backs healthy. So he's going to come in, he's going to look like a stud, and then he's going to get injured, and he's going to come back, look like a stud, get injured, and it's going to continue to be that revolving door of health like they've had for the last, 3-4 seasons in the backfield.
I mean, as of right now, Jeff Wilson is going to be starting for the 49ers because Elijah Mitchell is out. So they need, all the other guys that they had on the roster last year have gone to Miami.
Yeah.
So everybody left with McDaniels. went to a hotter, more expensive pasture down in Miami. So
they went from the oven to the sauna.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do you like in this? Do you like the Jets or the Browns?
I'm going to take the Browns on this one. I think this is going to be an easy win for them. But yeah, actually no, I'll take that back. This will probably be a sloppy game for both teams coming into this. But I'm going to take the Browns. I'll take the Browns. I won't take the 6.5. I won't take that.
Okay. How do you feel about the Brownie the Elf being on the field now as their midfield logo?
I don't know how I feel about that. It's a large. It almost looks like a devil selling cookies. I don't know. It's the way looking. I've looked at it a few times, and I'm trying to look away and look back to maybe my fresh eyes to make a better assumption of it. It just looks weird. It looks like a college football mascot. That's what it looks like. It
does. Honestly, it really does. But this is also from the 50s. Times were different in the 50s, man.
Very different.
Art wasn't where it was now.
I just
social issues. Danny
also even looks like a minor league hockey mascot too, as well.
Right. Yeah.
Like this, or a minor league baseball mascot, like a Savannah Banana.
Right.
Or the Topeka like Aztecs or something like that. It just doesn't look right.
It doesn't look right for an NFL team,
right?
Where we are visually now. Right. It's cool to pay homage, but also this is the only mascot you've truly had outside of the Bulldog, which you've just recently used.
It just seems like Cleveland likes to do things that are just questionable on a yearly basis.
Right.
Like from signing Deshaun Watson, and now you have this weird elf devil selling cookies mascot on your field is just it's very questionable right now.
I can't remember one of the journalists, I think it was for Sports Illustrated, was like, I cannot believe that the Cleveland Browns really put Kyler Murray on their field.
That's an actual tweet?
Yeah. I was like, someone's gonna lose their job.
That's an actual tweet.
Yep.
Wow, they have an actual job in media, and we're still doing blogs, right?
Jesus. Next 1 p.m. slate, Washington traveling to Detroit. Very, very tight game on this one. Of course, all these odds are through DraftKings. Detroit is favored by 1.5 with the over-under set to 48.5. So, yeah.
I think Detroit's going to get their first win this week against the Commanders there, Danny.
You know what? If any other quarterback, if Heineke is the quarterback, I think I might like Washington better. But I just know that Carson Wentz is the ultimate drive stalling quarterback. You know, outside of Joe Flacco stalling 5 drives for the Jets last week, nobody stalls more drives than Carson Wentz does. And I did like what I saw from Detroit. You know, you got to remember they went toe to toe with the second favorited NFC team last week.
They didn't have a bad game either. I mean, they looked good. They looked better than last year coming out the gate. I mean, obviously, I thought they should have won that game, but
right,
offensively, they look pretty good. So
yeah,
I'm taking Detroit on this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm high on Detroit.
I want Dan Campbell to get his win for 2022.
I want to see Dan Campbell crying in the locker room again because he's so excited for his team.
Hey man, you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Man, come on, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
They got 3 toes on Washington. Let's cut off the other toe. Now they got one ass cheek, 2 toes, no kneecaps. Let's go.
I'm gonna be biting some kneecaps right now. Let's go. Let's go, Danny.
Tampa heading to New Orleans. We know that history is going to tell us that New Orleans is going to win because it's a regular season game. Tampa's favored by 2.5. Over-unders at 44. Here's also the thing: is Jameis Winston is still questionable to play with a back injury. I think if Jameis doesn't play, there's no chance that the New Orleans Saints win. I think, and as weird as that sounds, right? Jameis Winston is going to be the difference. Jameis Winston is going to be the difference maker because he's the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints for a reason.
If he's questionable, are they going to have Taysom out there as number 1, or?
I would assume that it would be Taysom as number 1 and then Ian Book as number 2 if needed.
Oof. No, Andy Dalton is your second in command.
Oh, that's right.
Andy Dalton is a Saint now.
That's right.
Ooh.
Goes to show you how relevant Andy Dalton is this day and age.
Exactly. This is a hard choice for me, Danny. It's because it's the historical thing that we know that the Saints are always giving the Bucs trouble in the regular season.
Yep.
I mean, I'm obviously going to pick the Bucs, but I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not. Dirty? I don't. Yeah, I feel dirty about it because it's just because it's just the historical. You know, we've seen this movie before in the regular season that somehow they always seem to just to play bad against the Saints.
Right.
And the Saints somehow play at the best of their ability against the Bucs.
I just for me, I look at it and go, okay, well, yeah, it's Dennis Allen's first season as head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Does he have the same mojo that Sean Payton had? Likely not.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're at home too. The Saints are at home, and it's a different beast when the Saints are at home.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the Bucs. Is it what 2.5 is the line?
Yeah.
I'll give it 2.5.
Good. I'm glad I'm glad we're on the same page for that one.
Do you feel dirty too, or?
You know what? I actually feel confident.
You do? Okay.
Honestly, I do, because we saw New Orleans really struggle against Atlanta And you and I have been pretty high on Atlanta, saying, hey, people are probably sleeping on the Falcons a little bit this season, but we know the Falcons are not an NFC South contending team yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've got good pieces in place. They're starting to rebuild properly. And it's hard to come down from the mountain of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, because whether we like them as Bucs fans or not, they were a very dynamic duo for a very long time together. So it's hard to take a step back from the top of that mountain and go, well, yeah, I think we're going to be okay. But I like what I saw from the Falcons, and I think that kind of showed us that
with them it's a work in progress, because I think and as the weeks go by, you're going to see more of an improved Atlanta Falcons team.
Right. I think that we're going to see that as well, which tells me that maybe the New Orleans Saints have kind of regressed a little bit.
Do we have any injury update on Mike Evans' calf injury? I know it was kind of minor, but still, that's something to monitor going.
He was listed as questionable officially, but it looks like he's going to play. As for everything that we've been told and everything that we know is just it's just wrapped
for fantasy purposes and for DFS purposes. I know I should say some of this for Sunday's show at Channelside Bets, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11:30 to 12:30 on Channelside Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you go to subscribe and follow. My sleeper pick this week for fantasy and DFS would be Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Since Chris Godwin is out, Julio Jones will get some high volume. So just take a look out.
Right. And we know that, and even if Mike Evans is 100%, we know that Marshawn Lattimore does match up very well against him. We know that, and there's things like that they're gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Football, just like basketball, it's a game of matchups. Sometimes somebody just has your number, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles, Evan. Like, it just happens. So I love the sleeper pick of Julio Jones that you have.
Thank you.
I really do.
We got an injury update. This came out now from Pewter Report. Mike Evans, he has limited participation right now because of the calf. And so is Leonard Fournette for the hamstring. Limited.
I still think we're going to be okay.
I think so. I think so too. I think by Sunday, we're going to have a clear-cut indication. I think both of those guys are going to be good to go. So I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Because, look, we know Michael Thomas is going to run slants. And Devin White and Shaq Barrett were on another level on Sunday night against the Cowboys. So I feel like the middle of that field is going to be shut down likely for a Michael Thomas slant route.
Plus, I think the Bucs by now know what to do and how to get the Jameis and know how to make Jameis make mistakes. You make him run for his life. You get in his face.
Right.
Because he's gonna try and do, he's going to try and chuck it and see if it's going to make a big play. That's what Jameis is known for when it comes to him making mistakes. So that's what the Bucs just need to do, is continue on the pressure and just give him hell. Make him go outside the pocket to make mistakes.
Yep. And Antoine Winfield Jr. played out of his mind, and he looks like he's definitely coming into his own. And as he's going to be one of the better safeties in the league by the end of the season. He's going to be probably a top 5, top 3 safety in the NFL. Excuse me. Totally Carolina is heading up to the G-Men, heading up to New York. What's the over-under here? Over-under is 43.5. Giants are favored by 2. I don't think the Giants have been favored in a game in a very long time. I'm sure that's a very welcomed feeling for Giants fans. Both teams looked good in week 1, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Carolina kind of lost the heartbreaker at the end.
Barkley and CMC both looked healthy and ready to go. So that's good sides for both teams because their star running backs are relatively healthy for now.
Yeah. I think I like the Giants in this one though. I think I like what Saquon is looking like. I'm
gonna ride with you on the Giants. They look good. I think Brian Daboll has really kind of bring a new culture of winning to this New York Football Giants team that's been longing for something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Giants on this one. This is gonna be a battle of the run game for this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that Saquon is a step ahead of where Christian McCaffrey is.
I think Nikki's probably like just her ears are just tingling right now for you saying that because of her love for the New York New York Giants.
Kenny Golladay can't be a bum forever.
Yes,
he's got a. But I mean, he put some good games together in Detroit, which is why he got the large contract from the New York Giants, right? And I know that it doesn't seem like he has the right mindset to be an NFL football player, and that's really what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a big Kadarius Toney game.
This could be a good Robbie Anderson game. I think Baker has found his number or guy in that Carolina offense with Robbie Anderson. I know a lot of people were high on DJ Moore because DJ Moore has, supposedly been the guy in Carolina, but I think Baker and Robbie have really clicked together. So if you're looking for somebody to throw in your lineup for a streamer at wide receiver, look for Robbie Anderson in this game.
Yeah. Robbie Anderson's catching passes this year. You got to remember, this time last year, Robbie Anderson was leading the league in drops. After week 1, he had 4 drops just in the first week last season. So he's catching passes now. And maybe that says, maybe every quarterback has a different touch.
True.
How many times did you hear guys, like Donald Driver? Well, yeah, I broke fingers catching passes from Brett Favre because he launches them so hard. Baker Mayfield might have a softer touch than Sam Darnold does, so it's easier to catch. There's a number of factors. Maybe Robbie Anderson spent a lot of time on the jug machine in the offseason, going, hey, I'm a professional football player. I looked pretty damn good with the Jets. I averaged like 700 yards per catch with the Jets, because he was always just running vertical routes. And maybe it's time, that where Robbie Anderson finally turns it around and he figured it out.
I mean, it's been a long time, so long time coming if he's turning around this season.
Fine. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure, when you have the benefit of having a DJ Moore opposite you, that works out good for you.
Exactly.
So we're both on the Giants on that. New England traveling to Pittsburgh. New England is favored by 2. Over under is 40. Evan, I'm riding Pittsburgh on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with Pittsburgh as well. The status of Mac Jones is up in the air right now because of the back injury last week. I'm really surprised that the Patriots are favored in this game, to be honest with you.
No,
Pittsburgh looked good last week against Cincinnati. Maybe it's the fact that TJ Watt is going to be out for this game with his pec injury, which he doesn't need surgery on. He will be back probably in a month or so.
Yeah.
But I'm really surprised that the Patriots are the favorites in this game. So
me too.
There are some questionables right now. Najee Harris is questionable with his foot injury. So he might be a game time decision, but he says he is good to go. So we'll see on that.
Yeah, he says it and Mike Tomlin says it. So
then he's good to go. If Mike Tomlin's going to say you're good to go, you're good to go. So yeah, I'm surprised that the Steelers are not favored in this game. I'm picking Pittsburgh. I'm riding with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin strikes me as a coach. Like, have you ever watched Bar Rescue with John Taffer?
Oh yeah, I watch it all the time. You're not going to do this right now. Yeah,
we're like, where he'll be like, so let's talk about how you're messing up, and he's like shaking his head at you, like you really suck at your job, right?
You notice how Taffer just shakes his head no matter what you're saying. He's like,
yeah.
Well, you need
I
to
feel like
back
that's how Mike Tomlin is like.
That.
Mike Tomlin is looking at Najee Harris. Like bone could be out of the foot, and he's like, "You're good to go, yeah."
Good to go. Oh, that doesn't hurt, right? Right. Yeah, you're good to go. I think right now with New England, I think New England's a mess.
Right. We just got technical difficulties. we just lost the Bushman here. I told you, man, we've been flying by the seat of our pants. We've been rolling.
Holy crap! Hey, I'm back.
Hey.
As I was saying, I think New England's a mess right now with what their offense is. So, I just think Pittsburgh is the way to Pittsburgh. I'm taking on this one. This is going to be Pittsburgh all the way. What was the line on that? Was it 2?
2.5.
But I don't know, man. I'm not taking the 2.
No, I can't.
I'm not taking that.
Indianapolis heading down to Jacksonville. The Colts are favored by 3.5. Over-unders at 45. I want to say I like the Jags, but I don't know if I like the Jags this early in the season against a team that should be very formidable in the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. For some reason this year, I'm rooting for the Jags just to do better because they
Yep.
got burnt so bad by Urban Meyer last year.
Yeah.
Colts, I think, are going to win this game. They've got the better run game. They've got the better coaching. They've got Matt Ryan in there. It should. I hope it doesn't end in a tie like last week. But you never know. We'll see.
Could you imagine starting your season 0-2?
That would be the betting and the casino in Las Vegas would go out of their goddamn minds if there was another tie in week 2. Same with another tie with the Colts.
Right.
Go out of their minds.
That's never happened in the history of the game. And B, like, good Lord. That would be insane.
I'll take the under on the 45.5 though.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that. 4 points I'll take too.
You know, if you're looking at when the Jags have beaten better teams, they're very. You remember when they beat the Bills like 9-3?
I remember that, yeah.
Or was it 9-6? I think, and it was just a field goal barrage. That's what this could be. Is a very low scoring game. So I'm definitely with you on the under for sure.
I think what we saw out of the first game too with the Jags in week 1 was it looked like a totally different Jags team. It didn't really look like the team that we saw last year, which is a good sign too, because that's what you want to see in a team that, really didn't do anything last year, was bottom of the barrel in the NFL. So as long as you're seeing progression, and I said yesterday, 5 games, they'd win 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to see out of a team. Because there's so much still building to do on this team. That's what you want to see. Like Jags fans, look, it's going to be a slow process with this team. So brace yourselves.
I'm on the exact same page with you. Miami traveling to Baltimore.
It's gonna be
Baltimore favored by 3.5. Over under 44.5. Who do you like? I like the Dolphins in this one.
I like the Dolphins as well.
I think Mike McDaniel has figured out the formula for Tua to make Tua look like the quarterback that he's supposed to be. And everybody outside of Miami Dolphins fans, outside of like that toxic group that's like, we hate Tua. Outside of that, everybody was like, dude, Tyreek Hill almost 100 yards, Jalen Waddle under almost 100 yards. He was distributing the ball well. And by the way, they couldn't really get anything going on the ground. We know that the New England Patriots have a little bit better of a defense than the Baltimore Ravens do, because the Baltimore Ravens defense is the same as it was last year, and they were very suspect last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is going to be a Dolphins upset, with a lot of people saying they're going to play the Ravens. I like the Dolphins in this one.
Yeah.
And we found out yesterday too that Lamar has shut down contract talks. Shut them down.
Oh, we've got a little tidbit coming on Channelside Sports after the show.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Oh, we do. Oh. Yes, we do.
Is it something I've kind of predicted?
It is something that you kind of predicted, and boy, it looks so pretty.
Is it a juicy morsel that I would love to hear? All right, let's end the show right now.
It looks so pretty. It really does. Look, I like what Baltimore has in theory, but they just haven't been able to kind of like put it together, really, and that to me is problematic. Is looking at it going, hey, you're a running team. Like, they got the win. We talked about this yesterday. They got the win over the Jets, but they looked really bad in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Joe Flacco not being able to find the end zone, that's the only real reason why the Baltimore Ravens won this game, because Lamar found the end zone 3 times and Joe Flacco couldn't. But the Jets had more offensive yards. The Jets had less penalties. The Jets forced more turnovers. The Jets won the time of possession. There's no reason why the Baltimore Ravens should have won that game outside of drives being stalled by the quarterback. If you can't get more than 64 rushing yards and you're a run first offense, you're in for a very long season, my friend.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I just still think Baltimore still has a lot to figure out, and I do think the contract negotiations with them and Lamar has maybe kind of put a black cloud over it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I agree.
because this has been going on for the past few years about, hey, we want to get a deal done. We want to get a deal done. And he's like, look, I know my worth. Maybe this could be an FU tour for him, like saying, hey, I'm going to ball out and show you how much I'm worth. But, hey, maybe in free agency, I'm not going to even pick you. I'm just going to go somewhere else.
It's entirely possible. I know obviously, Tony was talking to me this morning and saying, well, they technically can control Lamar Jackson's fate for the next 2 years because they could franchise tag him, they could transition tag him. I don't know if the Baltimore Ravens would do that.
I think they would, though, Danny.
I think they would, but here's the thing: is like you're just gonna piss off your quarterback when you've got a very capable quarterback sitting in the backup slot in Tyler Huntley.
I think it's entirely possible because they can go, okay, we're going to franchise tag you right now, but then we're going to reopen the contract negotiations where we can get possibly a deal done. That's why we're going to franchise tag you.
And I mean, and that's why the franchise tag is there.
Right.
I just,
but if Lamar
doesn't have to sign it.
Yeah, but if Lamar was smart, Lamar would be like, look, we've been doing this dog and pony show. We've been going back and forth about contracts and how much I want for guaranteed money. I'm going to test free agency.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it because you know what? Maybe there's a team out there that is a contender and is maybe maybe a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. And maybe I could be that quarterback. And I want to see if there's any other teams that have deep pockets, which there are a lot of teams that have deep pockets where they'll pay the money for me.
Right. It's entirely true.
Mm-hmm.
Afternoon games. Atlanta is traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Obviously, both teams are 0-1. The Rams are favored by 10.5 points in this game. Over under is 46.5. I got to ride with the Rams on this. You can't tell me the Super Bowl winning team is going to start 0-2, especially against a team that's rebuilding in the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm going to do the upset pick on this one. I'm going to pick Atlanta on this one.
Ooh.
I just don't have any confidence in the Rams. I don't. After week one's game against the Bills, where the Bills just basically shut them down. And I just still think there's going to be a continuation of that. And obviously, I'm not saying Atlanta's defense is going to shut them down totally.
Right.
But I just think that the Super Bowl hangover is there with LA. And I think there's just still a lot of issues right now. And they've got
a Daryl Henderson game.
Yeah, I have lost faith in them putting in Cam Akers. Cam Akers is just sitting on my bench. I'm just trying to dangle him out there for somebody to take. I'm not even. Yeah, they've got issues on the run game. They really their offense, their wide receivers is just Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson is non-existent right now. I still think there's issues with Matthew Stafford's arm. So
yeah, and you saw that. Buffalo. We know Buffalo's got a good defense. But as somebody who's watched Matthew Stafford as a fan, covered Matthew Stafford as a professional, dissected many hours of game film, that's not realistically the Matthew Stafford you expect. If he's going to throw turnovers, if he's going to throw interceptions, it's usually because they're playing behind and he's trying to make, the miracle pass and trying to fit the ball in windows that are too small and just getting picked off. Right.
But listen, I'm not gonna take anything away from LA's defense because I'm sure they're just gonna get through the holes of Atlanta's offensive line to get to Marcus Mariota. So
right,
this game's gonna be sloppy. It's gonna be a sloppy game. But I'll take Atlanta just for the upset pick on this one.
I like it. I'm rolling with that one.
Okay.
Seattle traveling to San Francisco. 49ers are favored by 8.5. Over under is 41. I'm going to take San Francisco just because I think their defense is better than the Seahawks offense.
I'm taking Seattle because I think they're just here to just prove everybody wrong.
Geno Smith playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time. Maybe this is his year to shine out with the team. Look, he still has a lot of playmakers on that team.
He does.
I'm taking Seattle on this one. If San Francisco's still rolling with Trey Lance, I don't know about this, man. I'm not.
Yeah, it's weird because Trey Lance didn't look terrible last season when he didn't look good last season when they plugged him in. But week one against the Bears was just dude, you regressed. What the heck happened?
I mean, could you blame that on the weather conditions though?
Possibly, you possibly could. Nerves. I'm starting week 1. I'm supposed to be the future.
I still think though, like you're gonna see if he has another bad game because now the conditions are gonna be a little bit better in where they're at. I just think,
Santa Clara is going to be
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So you're gonna have a nice day at home. I mean,
Yeah,
but if he does poorly, you're gonna hear the boo birds in San Fran, and you're gonna hear those boos turn into "We want Jimmy G."
probably.
You
How
know that.
crazy is that for us hearing a Jimmy G?
Jimmy, I'm telling you, man, because if he doesn't do poorly in the first half, Shanahan's got to make a change. Like he's got to make a change because you can't keep rolling with a guy that just hasn't progressed at all.
Right.
And especially if you're going against Seattle, which Seattle is Seattle.
Correct.
I'll go with Seattle on this one.
Cincinnati is traveling to Dallas to take on the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys.
If the Bengals don't win this game, then I have lost all hope for the Bengals.
I'm on the Bengals. Without question.
There's so many issues with the Cowboys on the offensive side where now you don't have Dak for almost 8 weeks. And
well, Jerry Jones said 4 weeks, but I don't know a quarterback that has broken his thumb on his throwing hand that has only missed 4 weeks.
This is kind of like the injury that Russell Wilson had last year.
Right, and that kept him sidelined for a while.
Yeah, so you're rolling with Cooper Rush. You're having a bunch of no-name wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb doesn't even look like a number 1.
I think I told you before, Evan, I think CeeDee Lamb was really a product of Amari Cooper out there.
No, and I totally agree with you. I think with the benefit, he reaped the benefits of having Amari Cooper there on the other side. So I totally agree with you on that. I mean, look, listen, the Cowboys' defense looked good. They got the Brady twice, so they look good. I mean, but I think this is just just the other side of the ball with them on offense. There's so many lingering issues with them now. It's just like Cowboys, man. I'm glad the Cowboys are doing poorly. I think America is glad that the Cowboys are doing poorly.
So. Houston's traveling to Denver. Denver's favored by 10. Over under is at 45. I liked what I saw from Houston, but Denver's 0-1 because Nathaniel Hackett screwed up royally.
Poor clock management and
royally screwed up.
Dumbass coaching decisions, which he later said, you know what?
Maybe in hindsight, Evan,
I shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I guarantee you that he uses all 6 timeouts in this game.
Yeah, but he uses them all in the wrong places, though.
What's the over-under for all timeouts? We need a prop bet, DraftKings. What's the over-under for Nathaniel Hackett using all 6?
Uses them all.
That's what we need.
First half alone.
I'd be like, hey, can I just pull the timeouts from the second half just to make sure that at the end of the game they're not there?
He does 3 failed challenges in the first half, and then that takes away 3. So there you go.
I'm assuming you got to be on the Denver train for this one, right?
I'm on the Denver train for this one.
Okay. At some point, I believe that Denver's going to turn it on, and I think that, I think there was a lot riding on that first game, especially for Russell Wilson. He played a good game.
Yep.
But I think that there was just so much riding on that game for Russell Wilson as the new quarterback, going back to his home to his former team that he was with for his entire career. Nathaniel Hackett's first game as a head coach. I think there was just a lot riding on the game that Denver was just ill prepared for.
I think so too. This kind of reminds me of when Brady's first game with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Where you're on a new team, you're on a new offense, you have new personnel. There's going to be some little chinks and little rust there. So I think this game will be the game that you'll see the Broncos offense really, taking that stride and ride out. So yeah.
Totally agree. Arizona and Vegas 425 kickoff. Raiders are favored by 5.5. Over under is pretty high at 51.5. I'm going Raiders because I think the Cardinals are going to be very bad this year.
I agree. I'm taking the Raiders on this one too, and I'll take the over on this as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to correct that. I'm going to take the under on that because there's issues with the Cardinals and everything.
Yeah, they haven't showed us that they can score.
Yeah, I think they're doing their second half nosedive in the first half right now because they don't.
So they're playing like the old San Diego Chargers with Phillip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson, where you're like, we started the season 0-5, but we're in the playoffs.
Yep. I just think just Arizona just looks bad.
Yeah, all around.
They just look bad.
Yep,
Too
they
many
really
injuries.
did.
Too many injuries on the defense. They just look, and guys left last year too. They just look bad.
Yep. No, I'm totally with you. Chicago, Green Bay, NFC North rivalry. I love the NFC North rivalry games. I really do. Green Bay's favored by 10, over unders 41.5. I don't care that it is in Lambeau. I am rolling with the Bears in this one.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Usually after a game, Aaron Rodgers does poorly, like we saw last year in Game 1. He shows out like So I'm expecting that type of situation this year against the Bears. So I'm taking the pack on this one.
Yeah, I just think that there's outside of the running game, there's no wide receivers there. Now, Alan Lazard did practice, but he's questionable because he got his ankle stepped on. Like that's a little worse than the sprain.
He got hood
Right.
stomped.
And Ndamukong Suh was nowhere to be found, for the record. But like, that's hard to come back from, especially right away. And you know that if he's in the lineup, he's going to be used a lot. So it's just, I've got to look at the realization that Green Bay still just does not have anybody on the field.
I'm looking at this Bears team. The Bears team had the advantage with the sloppy field, and look, I think there's a little. We've seen a little bit more progression from Justin Fields than we saw last year because of the coaching change and everything. But with Aaron Rodgers and getting destroyed last week, that's really going to put a fire in his ass for game 2. And that's what we saw last year too, where everybody was having doubts about Aaron Rodgers last year because they just got beat in game 1. It's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is done. He's going to retire. It's like, and then game 2, he just put the middle finger up and said, no, that's not happening.
Yep.
So
I'm totally with you. First of 2 Monday Night Football games, Evan. Tennessee is traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. How are you feeling about Buffalo being favored by 10?
I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, what we saw against the Rams, dude, this Bills team is on a whole different platform right now.
They put the league on notice in week 1, and that's not an overreaction.
I mean, the way you can just do that to the reigning Super Bowl champions on week 1, Buffalo has really put people on those. Like, look, we're it, man. And Josh Allen is just a man. He's a Superman.
He's a Superman.
He's a Superman. He's a Superman.
Superman, I'll tell you. But I mean, Tennessee is just such a one-dimensional team. If Derek, last year they had the benefit of Ryan Tannehill had the benefit anyway of having AJ Brown and Julio Jones. No matter if they were in, if they were out, whatever, right? But he had the benefit of having them where he doesn't. Robert Woods was a non-factor in game 1. Outside of Robert Woods, they don't really have any legitimate. They're kind of the Green Bay Packers, right? They don't really have any legitimate wide receiving threat on the team that makes you go, "Hey, we got a game plan for this guy."
I think there was a surprise for week 1 with Dontrell Hillard, who is Derrick Henry's backup, had two tutties last week. He's being more involved in the passing game. So with that, the lack of wide receivers that they have on the Titans offense, he's definitely kind of being that guy for game 2, maybe. But this is just the Bills defense is so good that you're not going to see any of that in this game. Like they're going to be going after that run game because they know that's the Titans game plan, man. It's a run heavy team. So I'm rolling with the Bills, man.
And to put the bow in week 2 slate, the second Monday night game, you've got Minnesota traveling to Philly to take on the Eagles, which I think is possibly going to be one of the better games of the entire week. Philly's favored by 2. Over under is 50.5. This game will be on ABC. So you will not hear. I don't know who's calling the game, but it won't be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman because they're doing doing Tennessee Buffalo. Yeah.
I wonder who they're going to put for the broadcasting team for the second game. It'll be interesting.
Hey, Chris Berman.
No. No. I will chuck my remote at the TV if that happens. No.
I like Chris Berman on the fastest 3 minutes, and I'm fine with that.
No, I don't. Nope.
I can't do Chris Berman for a full game any longer.
I can't do Chris Berman at all, even for that 3-minute little wrap up he does. I can't do it.
I'm on the fence about this one. This is the only team that I never really had, because as we're going through, I don't know if you see my, I'm taking notes and I'm writing who you're taking. This one is still empty for me.
I'm right there with you, Danny. This is almost to me like the flip of the coin game this week.
Right. I think Philly showed me enough last. I guess it boils down to is Detroit's offense as good as as good as 35 points worth, or was it just an error by Philly's defense? But then Minnesota came out and Minnesota put their name and said, "Hey, NFC North runs through Minnesota this season, guys."
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup with the Eagles secondary. You're going against Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Rondell Moore. I mean, don't sleep on Adam Thielen, even though he's like 100 years old. Like, he can still catch balls.
Right, and Kirk Cousins is not. He's not. Is he worth like $45 million a year? No,
No.
But you know what? He's still a top 6 quarterback in the NFL every single season,
and he's played it out right. He'll just keep franchise tags every single year to get paid. That's what he'll do.
Yeah, like what the hell?
You want to pay me $23 million for 1 year? Sure. Care? I don't need an extension. Just give me 1 year. We'll talk about it at the end of the season. Yeah, I'm not putting I'm not picking my favorite for this game yet because it's still early for me, and to me it's a flip of the coin game. So I'm not there yet.
I think I like Philly because it's at home. And I think that's the only slant for me is, if the game's in Minnesota, I think I'm going to roll Minnesota. Since the game's in Philly, I think I'm going to roll Philly.
Okay. See, to me, it's like Minnesota could be sneakily good this year.
I don't think they're going to be sneakily good. I think they're going to be outright good this year. But I think Philly also is going to be as well. Because you got to remember, man, Jalen Hurts torched the Detroit Lions, and it was largely only to A.J. Brown.
Right.
Devontae Smith is out there too. And I think the pairing of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown is better than the pairing of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. I think Justin Jefferson is head and shoulders above.
Right.
But I think the collective unit is better in Philly than it is in Minnesota.
If it was Adam Thielen 5 years ago, I'd have to disagree with you on that one.
Correct. Right. And I'm totally there.
Yeah, I'm just on the fence with this one. I'm going to have to wait until I get closer to Monday just to make my ultimate pick for this game. Like for me, if I had to give an answer right now, I'm actually leaning towards Minnesota.
Okay.
So, but that could change though.
Right. You never know. Dalvin Cook could miss the game, and Alexander Madison is questionable still. So that's a huge slant. If you can't run the ball because your 1 and 2 options are out, then you kind of know where you're going to go. You're going to pass the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is an Irv Smith game.
Ooh.
Maybe it's an Irv Smith game. That could be a sleeper tight end. That could be a value pick right there.
That is. Mm-hmm. I like Irv Smith. Saw him in the combine.
They didn't like him. They didn't like Irv Smith last week because he had 0 targets. But
well, maybe
Minnesota does.
Yeah, changing your game plan altogether because if their main focal point is going to be Justin Jefferson, then you got to really open it up for Irv Smith and Adam.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree. That is going to wrap it up for us. We made it all the way through in time. Look at that.
Look at that.
Fantastic, guys. Everybody enjoy Thursday Night Football. It should be a slobber knocker, as good old Jim Ross would say. Make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms. Just search for the Channelside Sports Network. And make sure you are smashing that subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can get the notification when Channelside Bets goes live on our YouTube page on Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where you will get to see Mr. Evan Bush give you fantasy advice, DFS tips, and help you cash some checks.
Play some bets, man. And we've got some punishments to hand out to you between myself and Nikki. So
this is very true. And yeah, I can't wait to hear you profess your love. Can't wait for it.
I don't want
Anyway, that is going to do it for us today. Of course, Channelside in the morning. We'll be back live mañana for a fired up hot take Friday. I am Danny. That is Evan. We